Man, welcome to the Brazil Expat Journal. It is a cool night in Sao Paulo. It was cooler last night, right, Peter? Last night was damn right chilly. It was cold. Last
Uh,
couple of
it's a little chilly. I don't know. It's still like 20 degrees, so I mean that's not too bad.
there was one night, I think maybe there was Saturday or something. I don't know, but it got real chilly, and I'm like, where are we? Like, what's going on? I thought summer was coming. It feels like I'm back in Philadelphia in the fall, and that mixes me up to this day. So fuck global warming for that. Just that it mixes my brain up because it feels like Halloween weather, and we're celebrating Halloween and I think it's fall, but actually we're going into spring in Brazil, into the summertime. So remember that if you're booking tickets to come down here, that it's the high season. Bring a bikini, not a jacket. Guys, tonight we have a really wonderful guest. He's back to the show after a long time away. His name is Marcos. And I will link to that first episode that he was on where he was giving a lot of Portuguese tips. Okay, he's a Portuguese teacher, real native, real cool guy, and we're gonna have him be our judge tonight because last week we just talked about things to consider when coming to Brazil, more on a practical level. You got to get your documents straight. You got to worry about the bureaucracy, the crime, etc., etc. But tonight we're going to do it more on the cultural side. What are some of those things that maybe are difficult for expats or visitors to the country to sometimes overcome because that cultural difference is too harsh, and some of them are just they're different but they're funny, and you just laugh and you enjoy each other's cultural differences. So tonight we're going to kind of dig into that. So it's going to go from light to heavy, and Marcos, as a Brazilian, is free to tell us if we're talking shit or not. Okay, if it's just something in our heads. So Marcos, come on, guys, let's all join in. I'm really happy to have you back, sir. Where's Marcos? You can unmute yourself to
I'm
then
here.
be the
I'm here. Yeah, I just like here and happy to be here again. Yeah, with you and Peter. Like, so nice to be here again. And you said it was the weather was cold. Yeah, and I'm just here in Rio. Yeah, and it's a carioca cold here. Yeah, we got 23 degrees. Yeah, and this is pretty chill for us. Yeah, must say.
That's
And
I've heard this expression, the Carioca cold, because
mhm.
Rio is famous for being hot, guys. So any little drop in the temperature and it's game over. Game
Yeah, I'm
over.
I'm ready to make some fondue here, man.
You're gonna my God,
Yeah.
you guys are too much. Now, speaking of cultural differences, guys, we're going to speak at very broad terms, but I'm like a broken record. I repeat this so much because I think it's so important that people know this. Brazil is big, okay? Americans have a bad rap for not knowing their geography, but it's not just Americans. A lot of people that don't realize how big and diverse Brazil is. And Marcos is from Rio de Janeiro, and I feel like I'm more here São Paulo style. Man, two completely different cities. Some expats love one, hate the other, vice versa. Some expats love both, and not just expats, Brazilians. There's Brazilians that hate one, love the other, love one, hate the other, love both, hate both, because it's so different. And that's what's so lovely about this country is
I
that
love
you have
both.
so many things to choose from. Go ahead.
I love both. Yeah, I think São Paulo is an amazing city. Yeah, you have like some. It's a very different city from Rio. Yeah, like it's really a city. I feel like I'm right in a city. Yeah, and in Rio you don't feel like in a city sometimes. Yeah, because there's so much nature around here. And when you feel these aspects, because every time you're looking around here in Rio, you got a mountain, you got some trees, and you got some, nature. Yeah, you got the sea, of course. I think São Paulo is just city, yeah. And when it's the city, man, there's so many things to do, like so many places to visit. Yeah, it's amazing. I really like São Paulo. Like I cannot. Of course, I'm from Rio. I love my city. Yeah, but man, São Paulo is something. I really like it.
I wish I could say the same about your city. Anyway, Peter, uh, let me get you in here because you're quiet there in the background. And what for you? Because Peter's, he's more well traveled than me. He's been to more countries than me, in very different countries, countries that have totally opposite cultures and that we would think of from the West. So, with that already, with that baggage already with you, kind of seasoned, what was most difficult for you culturally here in Brazil when you first got here?
Um, Not much, actually. I just kind of go with the flow. I didn't have a lot of cultural differences. I mean, the crime was the most difficult thing to deal with because I'm used to being feeling safe wherever I go, and didn't always have eyes in the back of my head. So for me, like the most difficult thing to get used to was the crime. But I would say something that wasn't difficult to get used to, but the first thing I found strange was the touchy feeliness of the culture.
I
People,
knew it. Oh,
yeah,
yes.
people you like just met are like standing like a few centimeters away from you, touching you on the shoulder, just as a way of like engaging you in the conversation. I remember once I went to a new student and he introduced me to his boss, and his boss actually gave me a kiss on the cheek. I actually tried to avoid it a bit, and she got me in the eye.
Oh my God. Marcos, you don't hug strangers, do you?
Of course, I do. Yeah, if the first,
What type
uh,
of human being are you?
carioca, a Brazilian. Yeah. Yeah,
Oh,
when
guys.
we first meet, first when I introduce to someone, yeah, especially here in Rio, yeah, we usually kiss, yeah, if it's someone from, yeah, another sex, like girls kissing girls and boys kissing girls, and but boys don't kiss each other. But yeah, when I have my friends, my very good friends, of course, I kiss them on the cheek. Yeah, it's something from me. I think for my friends also, yeah. But yeah, and we hug, of course, of course, Brazil, man.
I know it's so funny, guys, because for me that was difficult to get used to. I've gotten better at it because I always look at it as like a development, like self development. Because I before coming to Brazil, I would call myself a very introverted. I still am an introverted person. I'm a social introvert. I learned that this week. I'm a social introvert. But before I was like an antisocial introvert. I was very nervous, and anxious all the time, and insecure, and I couldn't talk to people. And Brazil, it taught me how to express myself more because you have to. People are very expressive here. They're in your face expressive. So you will either hear them or you're going to see them. And I'm still not like a big hugger and toucher and stuff like that, but I've learned that that's okay sometimes. And it's okay to just let go. And if I've had enough beers in me, I'm hugging perfect strangers and we're singing some karaoke song. And I'm like, wow, like that's a side of me that I didn't know existed. And Brazil brought that out of me. Is that my default mode? No. My default mode is if I meet somebody, I probably did this to Marcos. I remember very clearly Marcos is waiting for me at his friend's house. He's got his shirt off. He's like just hanging out. I'm coming down the street, all dressed in a button up shirt or something. And I'm pretty sure I extended my hand, but he gave me a big hug. And I'm like, of course I got to hug Marcos because it's fucking Marcos. I love this man. Uh, but that's not something, my default mode is extend my hand. And then Brazilians look at me kind of like, well, where's this guy from? Because I'm Brazilian too. Like, que brasileiro é esse? So, yeah, it's touchy feely. Have you gotten a little bit better at physical contact, Peter, or no?
Yeah, yeah, kind of, but I think it's largely with people that I've known for a long time. I actually did it like just last weekend. I was at a show with two friends that I've known for several years. One I hadn't seen in a long time. So yeah, I mean, I think I initiated it actually. He was a bit surprised. We're like, oh man, I haven't seen you in so long. But I think that's more, having known people for a long time and being more comfortable with it. I'm still not great with strangers. With girls, I'm a little easier with it. If I'm drunk, like you meet like some friends at a club, they move in for the kiss, and it's like, yeah, okay, whatever. I'm drunk, I don't care. But yeah, most of my comfort is more with people I've known for a long time.
Guys, I'm gonna give you like a different perspective, and this really was it was cool for me to hear. I work with someone who's from Ireland, and he's been in Brazil for quite a while. He's got kids here, et cetera, et cetera. And he went back to visit his friends that he hadn't seen in a while. Went back to Dublin, and he told me that they gave him a pat in the back. They bought a pint, but it was very like another Tuesday. Like maybe they gave him an extra pat on the back, but it wasn't much. And then he's like, I was only there for a week. I came back to Brazil, and it was like they threw a barbecue for me. Like I had only been away for like a week or two, and they came. It was like I had been gone for like 20 years. Like they had a party, and he, as an Irishman, he's like, I realized that I've become more Brazilian. I've been here long enough that I actually miss that. Like I miss the warmth of Brazilians when I was over there, even though I loved my friends and my family over there. So I'd be curious because you haven't left the country in a while, how you would feel back in Canada, just back to the culture that you're used to. But at the same time, you're like, no, it's not the culture that I'm used to because I've been in this culture for damn near 10 years or so. So I'd be curious to know how that would feel because when I went to Europe, I kind of had a sense of that. And I was like, damn, it's really quiet here. That's the first thing I realized because Brazil is so loud. There's so much happening all the time. So like when you're a fish in water, you don't realize it till you get out of the water. Then I was out of the water in Europe. I was like, damn, that's different. But I'd be curious how that experience would be for you, Pete.
Yeah, I mean, right now my day-to-day life is actually mostly in my apartment. I do like a lot of work from home, so I don't get much interaction out with other people except during the weekend. But I can tell you when I went home from China, even after my first year, um, I had total reverse culture shock because man, China's noisy, it's crowded, nobody stays home. Everybody like goes out to eat and drink, like not just on the weekends, but every night. You're used to people shouting at you, but like that's just how they normally talk. And yeah, I live in Victoria, BC, which is, or I'm from Victoria, BC, which, is known as the town of the newlywed and nearly dead. It's like basically retirees and newly married couples. And so, yeah, it's really quiet. Like you can hear a pin drop at night. And I think that would probably bother me now because where I live, where I live on Correafeo, which is a really busy street. I have a 24-hour bus station under my window. I have two bars that both have live music directly under my apartment. So there's always traffic, there's always people talking and drinking downstairs, and I'm used to it. It actually weirds me out a bit when it's quiet around here.
It is funny. You kind of get used to it. Marcos, Pete mentioned in the beginning crime, and as we're talking, I have an article open that I had written a while ago. We actually did a podcast on it. It was 10 things I love about Brazil and 10 things that I hate about Brazil. And when I say hate, if I really hated the place, I wouldn't be here. Just things that can nag you. And guess what? Number one was crime, and I want to know your view on that because almost every expat will say that's the one thing that's like, man, I love Brazil to death, but the crime, like that's the one thing that sometimes keeps me from moving here permanently, et cetera, et cetera. So what are your thoughts on that, sir?
And Rio, it's another beast when you talk about crime. Yeah.
Mhm.
But what I would say, it's like I said, I think Peter said something amazing. He has an eye on his back. And I think that's it. Yeah, has always, that's the problem of being here. You have to always be attentive. Yeah, you need to be like, know what is happening in your surroundings. Yeah, when you cross the street, when you enter on the street, yeah, you need to know who is coming. Yeah, who's on the other side of the street. You need to know exactly who is where. Yeah, and this is crazy. Yeah, when I left Brazil, yeah, I lived in some places in Europe. Yeah, in the Middle East. I still had this on me. So sometimes I was walking, yeah, in the middle of the street, in like super safe cities, and I was looking around if someone was like kind of coming after me or who was on the other side of the street. So I always attempted, even though I was in a small town in Slovakia with 10,000 inhabitants, that I know nothing would happen to me. Yeah. But I was always like tense with my surroundings. Yeah. So I think this is something that we carry. Yeah. Even when we leave Brazil. And, but I've never been robbed, man. Never happened to me. Yeah, it's something because I'm almost attentive. Yeah, I'm a black person. Yeah, I'm a tall person. I have dreadlocks, and man, I think no one would dare. Yeah, this is what I really feel. Yeah, like who would dare to go against me? Yeah, and if they come against me, they will rob me like easily. Yeah, I will like, oh my god, just take sorry. Yeah, but yeah, I just think people don't dare. And
I was just going to cut you off a little bit, Marcus,
mhm.
because I like that you said that because uh, it's a different experience for men than it is for women. Yeah. And I think that sometimes scares some women from traveling solo, even though I'm seeing a rise in it, which is really cool. I'm in a lot of expat groups. And I see, especially in the black expat groups, I see a lot of black women that are boom, 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 coming here solo, going to Salvador, coming to Rio, and even Sao Paulo, which is a difficult city to come to alone for anybody, man, woman, or child. It's a complex city to navigate. So it's a good thing that you mentioned that. But go ahead.
Yeah, and what I really think, yeah, is like you need to be attentive, like 100% all the time. And this sucks, you have to be on alert, yeah, 100% of the time. It sucks, but if you do it, you're safe. Yeah, you're totally safe. Yeah, of course, there's
It,
streets you don't go. Yeah, some places you would avoid going. But yeah, I see also like a lot of women coming, yeah, to Brazil and enjoying because there are super safe places. Of course, Rio is like, oh, you see crime everywhere, but there are super safe places. Depends on where you are. Yeah. Doing what and what time. Yeah. Because every big city in the world is dangerous at some point, somewhere. Yeah. I think it's just that you need to know where you're going, you need to be familiar with the places you're going. Yeah. I think it's like, yeah, I think it's pretty easy, yeah, to be in Brazil, like safe, if you know what you're doing. Yeah.
Yeah, and you just kind of get used to it, and it's although I tell you that's another thing that I felt when I was in Europe. I had the opposite effect, Marcos, because for me it was like, whoo, I can let my guard down finally. I mean, I just went back to like U.S. level, attentive, which is pretty relaxed. You still gotta be smart, but you're like, okay, I'm just relaxed. Uh, but when I came back, I think I said that last week. Like I came back on a Thursday and I got mugged on a Saturday, I think, because I forgot that, hey, I'm back. I got to be attentive. And guys, I'm pretty sure I avoided a mugging this weekend. I was walking on this kind of windy road. It is a nice neighborhood, kind of like more upper class neighborhood. And I was walking through there because they always got nice parks and stuff. And I was with a buddy of mine, and a car came down the wrong side of this not so wide road, but he was coming on the wrong side of it, towards us in our direction. But as he was turning coming over, a car was coming in the opposite direction. Thankfully, it wasn't a busy road. It's like a residential back street. So he swerves out of the way and continues going. Just that he stops. The other car keeps going on its way, and he stops and he rolls out of the window and he shouts at me. He's like, "Yo, do you know?" Blah, blah? And I'm like, fuck, because there's a thing. Speaking of cultural things, like I want to get us back into the culture thing. One thing that I noticed here in Brazil, especially if you're dealing with like homeless folks or peddlers and stuff like that, because it's such a communicative country, if you ignore them, then they get really mad. Then they get in your face. I've avoided dealing with stuff. Just say no, não tenho, desculpa, and then they go away. But it's not like in New York or Philly or whatever that you see somebody peddling on the street and you don't want to deal with it. You just keep walking, and they're like, okay, fuck you too, and life goes on. Don't do that in Brazil. I mean, at least my experience has been at least say no, obrigado, boom. So when he shouted my name, I was like, yeah, okay, yeah, right? What's up? So that's when it got scary because the guy hit his reverse in our direction like fast. I was like, what? So I took a step forward and he stopped. And it seemed like he was going to open the door, but I was like looking him down. I was looking at him, looking at the guy in the back seat and this girl. And he didn't open the door. And he's like, "Oh, do you know where such and such school is?" I was like, it's down that way towards Raposo. Go, boom, get out. And it was scary, man. I don't know what he wanted to do, but better safe than sorry. And I'll tell you, that's awareness. Like I'm always aware of what's going on. I know a lot of viewers that are new to the channel came from the Ace Live interview that I did, and there's a section in there when we're in Liberdade, and I'm explaining that to him, and there was a guy that was coming down this narrow road on his bike as he's got his camera up, and you can see like I just stepped to him because I don't know what he was up to, if he was going to snatch the camera, and you can see, and then Ace goes back and he shows that in slow motion that, hey, as soon as they were coming too close, I just acknowledged them. So sometimes just acknowledging that you see somebody is enough to like avoid a criminal event. Just like acknowledge them, like, I see you, what's up? And then they're like, because element of surprise is gone. Okay, I want to get back to the topic at hand. So I'm going to move to something, Marcos, and a direct question to Marcos, because I know a lot of expats have this complaint. In fact, Miss Kira might have left a message here that we can listen about this very topic, which is lack of commitment. Okay, a lot of expats say this, that Brazilians, they say they're going to be here and then they're not there. They say they're like this, and then when you actually need them, where are they? Blah, 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 blah. So lack of commitment. What is your view on that? But before you answer, Marcos, and let me know, Marcos and Peter, if you can hear this, because I'm playing it off my phone. Poor Kira, she lost power, but she really wanted to get this message out. Listen to this.
Okay, three things that really messed me up culturally here in Brazil. The biggest one is friendships. I am a person who have quality over quantity of friends, and it was something that was really hard for me to learn, that you just have friends for different things here in the city, and that you probably won't just have one friend that you do everything with. 2 years later, I now am better at that. I think that so there would never be a deep level that we can go into with friendships. Like, I would say my Brazilian friends are just friends, where my American friends are my best friends. The second thing that messes me up is the mentality of Black people here, especially even if they do have money, but there are so many spaces that I go into that are just white. And I know Black people with money. I know that they have credit cards and they can afford to go to these things, but they will say they just don't feel comfortable. And that has really been a shocker and very hard for me to understand and wrap my brain around. And I think thirdly would be how advanced the city can be sometimes, and then how guess non-events. It could be at the same time. In the sense of today, I'm not able to join the show because it's raining, and I think it's crazy that when it rains, the electricity will continuously go out. But they have amazing places like Morumbi or Jardim or these amazing places and things in the city that like are just like, why can't you fix it? But yeah, okay, that's all.
Okay, so Marcos, back to the original one. She talked about friends in the beginning, and she touched on another topic, which is the social class differences, which is a shocker. Like I've never experienced it that much. We can go on to that after, but let's begin with the difficulty with making friends, and I think that stems out of this feeling that expats have of lack of commitment from Brazilians. So what's up with that, Marcos?
I totally agree, man. I totally agree. I had a conversation with one of my friends. I hope he's here, Antoine. Yeah, and he was telling me like how it's hard to make like friends here. Yeah, but like true friends. And he was like, I know a guy. Yeah, he's like super cool, but we are friends because he's Vasco also, his team. And he was like, I don't want to be friends with someone just because of the same team. I was like, dude, that's it. Yeah, there's something that you start and you can develop. Yeah, and go on and go on. And I think also there's something about uh, making friends with expats because sometimes you just go also. Yeah, like one day it's just gone and it's crazy. Yeah, and I know for a fact that Brazilians we don't like people going like departures. Yeah, so it's like it's a very emotional country also. Yeah, you know, and but I think I totally agree with this lack of commitment in friendships. Yeah, and I have some friends. Yeah, but I'm here for like over 40 years. I'm here in this country. Yeah, I'm from this country, so I kind of know how to deal with people and how this friend exactly as Lily was saying. Yeah, I can count on this friend for this thing, and this other friend I can count for this other thing. It's not that you have one person that you can count on for anything. Yeah, and I'm learning this in the hard way. Yeah, I really must say that I, some friends are just for like specific things and even like real and serious issues. Yeah, but sometimes this person cannot address this issue as this person would address. Yeah, and I think this is something that I'm learning now. Yeah, and it's crazy, man. But with foreigners, yeah, with expats, it's like even like harder because sometimes when you make this friendship with this expat, yeah, and this person kind of comes with everything to you because you are the only friend that he has now, and that's a lot. Yeah, and it's a lot, and I think not this filter. Yeah, there's not this filter, and I think it's natural. Yeah, actually, because there's no one to talk to, and suddenly there's someone that, oh man, this person really likes me, and I can be friends with this person, and I can tell everything, but everything is too much. Yeah, sometimes I think it's like this also. Yeah, I spoke with some friends. We have some Brazilian friends, and they were telling me that also. It's something, huh? Oh, I want to hear you.
So Marcos, I love that's what I love about Marcos, by the way, because he's very honest about both the positives and the negatives of Brazil, which it's like every country has positive and negatives. It's not like Brazil is special and only Brazil has positive and negatives, but not everybody's like willing to talk about it, especially Brazilians. Like Marcos said, sometimes Brazilians can be a bit defensive about their own country, um, but the so it's cool that you agree. So where do you think that stems from? Like, where does that come from? Because I have theories, because I feel like Brazil is just so unstable and has been unstable since like the beginning. It's just been a country that people, Portuguese came here just to rape and take, and since then, like, I don't think Brazilians of any, not even black, white, whatever, have ever had a sense of, I know what the next 20 years are going to be like. I always compare to like in the US, we're in first grade and and sometimes they're already talking about university, like prepare yourself. You got to learn how to write an essay or write It's like, man, I'm a first grader. But there's this real push for like be something in 20 years because there's enough stability in the country that you can say that. And I feel that that may lead Brazilians to be kind of wishy-washy because I have to be wishy-washy to survive. I don't know. I said this last week. Since I've been here, I've seen a president impeached. I've seen a president go to jail. I've seen a president that was in jail be president again. I've seen another one that probably is going to go to jail. It's like, what the, like, that's just 12 years, whatever. That's like a lifetime for somebody that may be coming from a stable first world country. So I think that may lead Brazilians, because I imagine myself, like if I had never left this country, I probably would be like that too. Like I'd be like, I don't know what I'm doing next week. Who the fuck knows what they're doing next week? So I see this attitude. It's so prevalent in Brazil. Sei lá, a gente vê, whatever, vamos marcar. So that's my theory, Marcos. But you, as a native who's lived here damn near your whole life, what do you say? Like, where does this come from, this attitude?
I really would like to listen to Peter before, yeah, because I'm sure he has some amazing feelings also.
Okay, well,
You
yeah, I mean, I think Marcos nailed it when he said that it's largely that if you're meeting somebody from another country who has no friends or anything, you don't want to be everything to that person because it is too much. And it's weird because in China, it was the opposite, especially in provincial Chinese cities. You stood out. I mean, if you didn't have an Asian face, like everyone was trying to talk to you, whether you spoke Chinese or not. And they all wanted to be your best friend. Not always for the best of reasons. A lot of time it's just to practice their English. A lot of times it was for status. But yeah, I think for a lot of Brazilians, it's the opposite. The lack of commitment, though, not to friendships, but to making plans. That's another thing because they do that with each other. It's not something that they do with foreigners. They do this with each other all the time. Like in Brazilian Portuguese, yes means maybe, and maybe means no if you're making plans. And what I've learned is just you don't really make plans with somebody here. You contact a friend and say, hey, like I'm doing this. Do you want to do it? And you'll almost always get a non-committal answer unless they actually have tickets for that event. You just have to be prepared to accept, okay, I might be going by myself and I'm fine with that. So yeah, I don't know where that non-committal attitude towards making plans is. Maybe it's like what Phil said, it's the instability. But I mean, they do it for really lame reasons too. Like Kira mentioned in recording, is like, it's raining, I'm not going out. And it's like, oh, for fuck's sake, like rain is not going to kill you. I mean, depending how bad it is, it can get pretty, I don't want to go out bad rain here, but it doesn't last that long. Like you can be a little late, ride it out. But yeah, some people here will just be like, nah, staying home tonight. No reason given, really. And you just have to accept that when you're making plans. Don't expect to hold your Brazilian.
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
I think Pete just got knocked out. But Marcos, touch on that because I mean, like Pete said, it's not. And I'll say even for the making friends because I finally have like a group of like I made a real concerted effort to really make friends with Brazilians. And I have a group of like maybe 3 or 4 Brazilians that I consider friends. I can talk to them, blah 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 blah, and they talk. They tell me about their experiences, and same as Pete said, it's like they treat themselves. I say them as if I'm Brazilian too, guys, but a lot of times I say them because I grew up in the U.S., so my brain feels U.S. more than this. Because for me it's different. It's a culture shock. So where does that come from? Because even with the friendships, they're like, yeah, it's so hard to make friends. People say they're gonna do something and they don't. Blah, blah, blah. So touch on that for us.
Yeah, I never thought about this instability that you said, yeah, from this historical instability. I never thought about that. It never came to my mind, and I think it makes sense. Yeah, it really makes sense because we make plans and we forget on the next day. Yeah, makes plan for tomorrow, and the next 5 minutes you forgot. Yeah, and that's it. We do among ourselves. Yeah, like let's see, vamos ver, vamos marcar, né? Vamos marcar. Pô, a gente vai se falando e a
That's
gente
the
vê.
magic phrase. Yes, guys. If somebody says
Vai se
vamos
falando.
marcar, right, I'm going to even write that down. So anybody watching there
Né?
equals no. Okay,
A
that's
gente
never
vai
going to
se
happen.
falar, a gente vai se falando.
Vai se falando, yeah.
Yeah, so maybe. Yeah,
Vamos se falando, vamos se falando.
and yeah, but I really don't know why. It's just like yeah, there's some people that we oh let's go for a beer, man. It's like
I've been waiting for a beer for a couple people for
I'm
a
not
while.
waiting for you to come to Rio. Yeah, you said like 2 times
I
that
know, but listen, at least I'm honest. Like I'll tell you, or that's the thing. Like I really, really, honestly did want to go this year, but then it just didn't work out. And every time I'm like, listen, sorry, but I got to work the one weekend. I even the one Madonna played. Of course, I was gonna go to Rio to see Madonna, but I was doing a thing at the spot on that same night, like an event. But at least I tell people like, can't do it now, can't do it now, can't do it now. But it's not cool when you say you're gonna do something, and then I get ready, I take out of my time, my effort, prepare, and then you just don't like. Where is Marcos? Marcos said he was gonna be in Sao Paulo next week. Like, what the fuck? I took Tuesday off so I can take him to dinner. Like, what the like that's the type of stuff that's like drives me nuts. And it's not just for like social things. It's even on a business level sometimes, which is really frustrating. But yeah, it's very complex, guys. It's something that you gotta really learn how to navigate. And just like Pete said, I think Pete gave the best answer, is just realize it exists and just realize that maybe you're gonna go to this show with your friend, maybe you're gonna go alone, or maybe you're gonna go with like five other people because your friend just invited five other people like out of the blue. So that part is kind of cool. That sometimes like the non-committal is like I have a lot of friends that say that like o não planejado é melhor or something. There's a little phrase that they say like things that aren't planned turn out better, and they're not always wrong because I've had plenty of nights in Sao Paulo where I just left the house and went somewhere that I like, a bar that I like, but from that bar I ended up somewhere else where I met some other person that took me somewhere, and you're like, what? Those are the best nights in Sao Paulo. But I can't deal with that every day. Like that's something that's cool to have every once in a while, but generally I like to have a little bit of planning. Go ahead, Marcos. I cut you off there.
and I think you touched something that was like super important because even in business, yeah, even in business, and this is crazy. Yeah, I had a student back in time from Holland, and he was working like in a big company here, and he was not beginner level of Portuguese, so he was dealing in English and Portuguese, but he got an amazing level. Then he was dealing in Portuguese, and it was like the first time I was like, yeah, the guy was like, yeah, so I will get a meeting here and they call you next week, man. And on Friday, he would call people in Rio, Friday at 3 o'clock because, you didn't tell me that you're going to call me next week. I was waiting the whole week. So I'm calling you like at 3 o'clock on Friday. No one was working. 3 o'clock on Friday. Rio de Janeiro, forget it. Yeah, no one was gonna answer. No one. Yeah,
On a
it's like people
Friday afternoon, forget about it.
getting real. Man. People are already like having beer from lunch. Yeah, and okay, you start having lunch at 2, and yeah, it's over. That's it. And man, so even in a business level, this lack of commitment of telling the other one like, man, it's not going to happen. Or man, this is going to happen. Because sometimes, how many times I will ask Peter again, yeah, how many times you said, I'm going to this place, and suddenly your friends show up there. Yeah, like as you were saying, Phil, that your friend shows up with like five other people out of the blue, like expecting to be alone, and suddenly there's like your friend and other friends. It's crazy.
Yeah, but I mean, in business, I used to have this happen a lot. I found there are ways to avoid it, but like you make a deal with someone for classes because I do a lot of English teaching, and you show up and they're like, yeah, no, I changed my mind. And like this is when I used to teach on site, right? So you take two trains, go halfway across Sao Paulo, and you get there and the guy's like, yeah, no, I don't think I can do it. And he doesn't even pay you for your time. Nowadays it's less of a problem because I only teach online and I don't start until I have at least a month paid up front. But I've had a lot of people like negotiating, right? Just talking about, okay, like what materials we're going to use, when of our class time's going to be. I'm busy with this now, but I want to start next month. And to be honest, if I'm having a conversation like that, I don't hold the spot for them. There was a time I used to like, okay, you want 9 o'clock Wednesday morning, but you can't start for 3 weeks, then okay, that's your spot. But more times than not, they don't come back. So yeah, I deal with this problem by number one, getting the money up front, and number two, not holding spots for somebody, because then you're in a situation where you may get another person who wants that spot, but you turned it down because you were holding it for somebody, and then that somebody doesn't take classes. So it happens. Best strategy to avoid it: get the money up front and don't save time for anyone.
Peter, it's so funny you said this because I went, I waxed poetic about how I developed as a human, being here in Brazil and opening up with my feelings and et cetera, et cetera. But I had the opposite effect. Like business taught me how to be more cutthroat, man. I'm so cutthroat now. I do not give a shit. It's like, I need the money now. Where is it? Like, oh, you can't do it. I'm just boom. Like I joke now that I fire clients, like I fire students, because you got to be like, again, it's not the type of person I would say I was 20 years ago. I was very shy, insecure. And Brazil teaches you how to just be a different person. And you just got to take that in the right direction. So, yeah, I'm extremely cutthroat. And I take like, it's yes, yes. Can you start tomorrow? Yes, no, oh, oh. If you say maybe, I already got somebody else in line. And that goes for everything, not just business. But we won't talk about that. Social class. I would just want to hit on that real quick. And then I want to hit Jay's question here about how long did it take for Pete and I to make a good set of friends, but also Marcos, like how is it for Brazilians to make friends? Is it people back from school? Where do the core friendships come from if you were raised here? And also wait, before I do that, JJ Travels. Jakira said she's back, but I don't know where she is. So maybe her power went back out again. Jay is there, and Teacher K, which we've had on. Thank you for logging on. So nice to see you. We got two teachers on board. Teacher K, K. If you want to join in, just let us know. I'll drop the link. She's a wonderful, wonderful person. She's got a lot of cool perspectives. So if you want to join us and give a little bit of perspective, you can just click on that link. Anyway, guys, so for me, that was a shocker. Like, it's not that I've never seen homeless people before or people holding signs at streetlights before in Philly. Camden is one of the worst cities or was. It's gotten a little better. In America, when I was growing up, the scariest place I've been to in my life, I say this again and again and again, is nowhere in Brazil. It's Southwest Philadelphia. Like like they say in Portuguese, Marcos, o cu tava na mão. My asshole. I was literally holding my asshole in my hand. I love that Portuguese expression. In other words, I was scared shitless. So it's not like America's like paradise, but uh, I've never seen the level of social class uh, divide before in my life, and in the amount of little kids, there aren't as many today as before, but I've never seen that many little kids or any, if I really think about it, on the streets. They used to like sell candy and stuff like that. And since the pandemic, of course, the amount of homelessness has increased. Even at our, like where I work, two kids got mugged. One was my student, almost got mugged, and the other kid did get mugged today. And it's an area that's considered kind of safe, tranquilo, nothing much happens, but it's like the amount of homelessness is increasing. Crack epidemic, of course, is a big issue in Sao Paulo. We got the famous crack land. So man, that is something that if you're coming down here to Brazil, just be prepared for, because if you've never seen it before, it's going to be a shocker, and you're going to be like, what the hell? Especially because it's going to be everywhere. I think the US does a better job at hiding it. Like when Mayor Giuliani came on, like we don't know where the homeless people went. We just know they're not there, and New York looks nicer. But where did he put them exactly? Like they are human beings. We need to like help them, not just, I don't know where they ended up, but New York did look nice after Times Square. But so I don't know, Pete. Did that affect you at all when you came down here? Was it like that in China? Like, what's the deal with this? How was it for you, that social class difference?
Yeah, well, I mean, China's a second world country, so yeah, the homeless problem isn't as much, but it's there. Thailand, it was much more pronounced, especially in Bangkok, because Bangkok's it's a tourist gateway city, but it's not a place where tourists stay very long. They basically stay there to book all their beach and jungle trips around the country, and they're gone. They don't spend a lot of time in the city, so you see a lot of it there. To me, I don't know. I mean, I think the first time I saw widespread homelessness that really shocked me was actually in Los Angeles, because downtown Los Angeles after dark, it's basically just like a homeless crackhead camp. So didn't bother me that much here, but I can tell you that I've had students who went from Sao Paulo to Canada, and they found the lack of homelessness shocking. I had one student who went to Vancouver, and he said, yeah, I was reading in the newspaper that Vancouver has a homeless population of like 300 people. And he laughed. And I asked why. And he said, there's like 300 people, 300 homeless people outside our window right now. Right. I was teaching in his office. And he's right. He taught at that where Consolação and Paulista and Habosas all meet. There's like this huge tent city there on two levels. And
Yeah.
I think 300 is an exaggeration, but I know what he means. It's like more than 100.
Yeah, yeah, it's complex. Oh, we had somebody that was on. I was about to let them come on, but okay. Marcos, what's your perspective on this, man? It's a complex one, like for foreigners coming, especially in Rio. You see it more drastically in Rio because the favelas are right next to the tourist area. Sao Paulo is a bit more spread out, so it can sometimes hide it a little better. It's been tougher in the last couple of years. But what do you guys say about that?
And it's complex. Yeah, it's very complex because sometimes you go for, yeah, like travel somewhere, yeah, around this world also. And when you see like, you don't see, we see poverty, yeah, around the world, yeah. But here you see like misery, yeah. People are just like die on the street, like really, yeah. And it's like it breaks my heart every time that I see like people like really die on in the middle of the street, like starving, and man, it's crazy. And yeah, man, it really breaks my heart. And Brazil is like because I think the problem is that there's a super rich people also. There are super rich people in São Paulo, in Rio, like but super rich. We're talking about millions,
Hmm.
billions, and gazillions of reais. And man, the structure is terrible. Yeah, for poor people.
It's complex. It's
Man,
complex. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
and you were saying about like that São Paulo is a spread city, yeah, because you have the city downtown and the city is spreading, yeah, like in big circles, yeah.
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
the further you are, and depends on where you go, like this region is better or worse, yeah. If you go east or you go
Mhm.
west or north or south, yeah. And in Rio, it's completely different because I was saying the good aspects of nature, yeah, because we see nature everywhere. Yeah, here I'm looking at like a right now, yeah, there's a natural the forest, yeah, but it's like just it's a park, yeah, and they have like big window with thousands of trees right now, yeah, and the favela at the same time, yeah. So Rio is actually a big favela, and the city is just the resistance of the city, yeah, because the, the city are on the hills, yeah, the majority of the people are like on the hills living, yeah, and this is where the true people are, yeah, the favelas, and the favelas are not that, favelas are not bad, favelas is amazing, yeah, like the cultural, what happens inside the favelas, man, it's a lovely place to be, yeah, if you know how to go and how to go out, yeah, it's amazing, man. I just, it's where my people are. Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
let me say this because you touched on this, and I do want to answer Jay's question. We're going to get to your question, and thank you for all of you who are listening live right now. Please like, subscribe, and guys, it's really good to have you guys interact. If anybody wants to say something, just post a comment, and I can get you on. Okay, just click on the link. But let me know who you are because we did have somebody on, but I wasn't sure who it was. I thought it was going to be Teacher K, but it was somebody else. But anyway, guys, Marcos touched on the favela, and Brazil, like we were just saying, there's a big social divide, and most people are on the bottom side of that equation, and then you have the very rich up top. So Brazil is a country that has a lot of working class, middle class, and lower people in it, and they just got a different flair. They live life a different way. So I started out in Sao Paulo living in kind of like an uppity neighborhood, but man, there was like no culture, there was no laughter, there was no dancing. There was because it's Brazil, but not to the level of like when I moved to the suburbs and I realized, oh, these are the Brazilians I was looking for, because they're just living life. They're happy because they don't, going back to that commitment, Marcos and Peter. I don't know what's gonna happen. It's like eat and be merry, drink and be merry, for tomorrow we die. There's this attitude here that's very much like this, which is great when it comes to living life. And I think that's the part that if you're willing to open yourself up to, if you come from a culture that's a bit more formal, a bit more, closed in, and you come to Brazil, it's a big shock. But if you open yourself up to that side of Brazil, it's magical, and you find pieces of yourself you didn't know you had. And I recommend, you're gonna find it living in the suburbs. You're not gonna find it living on Paulista or Jardins, or in Rio. I guess it would be like Zona Sul or Leblon. Well, that's all Zona Sul. Yeah, there's Leblon, Copacabana, Ipanema. You're gonna get a little bit of it because it's Brazil, but it's not like the real it. And you don't necessarily have to live in a favela. Like I live in just a regular neighborhood. There's a favela about 10 minutes from my house. I have family there. There's also a kind of rich neighborhood area about 15. That's where I almost got mugged. That story I told about, so just a regular neighborhood. Mine is just, regular working class, nothing special. But then this is where you get to see the real Brazil and meet real Brazilians that are waking up every morning, going to work, complaining about life, having their beer after work, and talking about all the bitches they want to fuck and the ones that are never going to give it up to them. And that's it. It's just having a good time. These are the real Brazilians. Um, Making real, true friends. Peter, start with you, and then Marcos. Give us the Brazilian side. Where do Brazilians make their friends? Where do they come from? Peter, how long did it take for you to get that core group of friends that are from here, not like expats? Forget the expats for now.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think I developed a lot. I made a lot of friendships that probably would have become real long term friendships in my first year, because I was living in Jundiaí, and Jundiaí is a small town of 300,000 people. Most of the people that I was hanging out with were into the music scene. There's only like 3 or 4 places to go every weekend, so you're seeing the same people like every weekend. So I mean, if I'd stayed in Jundiaí, I mean, I'm still in touch with one of those guys, Hanato. Banker by day, rock singer in like 3 different bands by night. I'm still in touch with him, but I actually haven't been back to Jundiaí since, and yeah, I haven't seen him in person since I left Jundiaí. In terms of in Sao Paulo, I don't know. I mean, I would say I still don't have that after 9 years. I have like a few casual friends from the music scene, some casual friends from the club scene or whatever, and then like a couple friends in the neighborhood who are like, we're neighbors. We socialize once in a while, but yeah, I really only have like a few really good friends. So no, still probably hasn't happened if you're looking for like how long does it take to get you like this social circle of tight people. I wouldn't say I have that, and that's after 10 years in Brazil and 9 years in Sao Paulo.
And what about you, Marcos? Like, where did you make your core friends here in Brazil? Where did they come from? How are friendships built for Brazilians?
Man, Pete, I'm sorry, man, because it's kind of sad, yeah, because 10 years is a lifetime, yeah.
Yeah, but it doesn't bother me either. I'm
Yeah,
fine
I
with it.
understand, but man, it's crazy, yeah.
I
But
prefer I prefer quality over quantity.
yeah, I understand. I totally understand you. So I have some good friends from my neighborhood, yeah, like very good friends that we know each other since we were like 5 or 6, 7 years old, yeah, and we're still talking today. So I have some friends like this, and these are like family, yeah, over being friends, yeah, because we have this kind of relationship. I have a very good, very, very, very good friend, yeah, also in Ribeirão Preto there that we talk like every day, and it seems like it's just every day, yeah. And when we meet, it's like just every day, yeah, just have a beer, but together, yeah. And I think that's it, man. Like it just grow up with your friends because his friend from Ribeirão Preto, he was from my school, and we know like each other for more than over 20 years. And I think that's it. It's just like the time because you're changing as a person, and you see the development of your friends also, yeah, because they stay like thinking how you think also because this friendship is also telling the person like, man, I think you're not doing the right thing right now. Yeah, I think let's talk about it. And I think that's it. This is like a real friendship. Yeah, because you can talk about anything, and the person he can be like
Yeah,
be bored about it. Yeah, bothered about it, but we'll think about it and talk to you because it's a true friend. Yeah, so
yeah.
it takes time. It takes real time to have it. Yeah.
I think about 90% of friendships in any culture are people you went to school with, people you worked with, and people you met through other friends. It's the same everywhere.
I tend to agree, and like my friendship. journey's been weird in Brazil because when I first got here, it was easy to make friends, but I think it was because it was like I was something new. I was something weird. I'm like a Brazilian who can't speak Portuguese and fala com sotaque bem estranho, assim devagar. I've gotten better. But, so I think it was just like, oh, it's something fresh, something new. And then I realized well, maybe I should have realized quicker because I got robbed by one of these friends. That okay, these aren't really friends, they're just people that I hang out with, like a friendship needs to be a bit deeper than that. But I didn't have a lot, like, I got here before there was good internet and good expat groups, so I had no choice but to make Brazilian friends. The only American that I knew was Kimmy, that was living out in Tabuão da Serra, which is another city. I was going to say a neighborhood. It's another city, but it's about, it was about 40 minutes. No, sorry, about an hour to an hour and a half from where I worked. And I ended up just living in the neighborhood where I worked. And so I didn't see her as much, and I had no choice but to make Brazilian friends. And of all those people, the only person that I still talk to, but I don't know if I would consider him a friend, is an ex that I had at the time. Like, we're just cool with each other. I'll say hi to him every once in a while, but we're not like sharing deep secrets and shit like that. And then I did date somebody. So usually that's one way, guys and girls, that you can make friends in Brazil is you meet somebody and then you're going to end up meeting their friends. And some of them you'll like, some of them you won't, but you might connect with a couple that may introduce you to other people and other people. So you're building your friend circle off of that. You just kind of have to be humble enough to realize, hey, you're going to be friends with your partner's friends. It's going to be tough for you to make your own friends in the beginning because where do you go? Maybe you don't even speak the language that well. That's a big barrier. So you just kind of get it where it comes. Like Pete said, work. If you're an English teacher, maybe you're making 100 reais an hour, 150 reais an hour, whatever, teaching private classes. But hey, if you got a weekday free, go work at like a little school or something, for 40 reais, 30 reais an hour, meet people, you're going to meet other teachers. Some of them might be married to Brazilians. You're going to meet other Brazilians. That's how I started to meet more people, both expat and Brazilians that I'm still friends with. Actually, that's how Peter and I met, like through business, So, and Peter and I are still together, after all these years. And so these are some ways that you can do it. Like as far as deep friendships, I can count one, and it's a lady who I consider like family. Like, I helped her raise her sons. Peter's met a couple of them, and I just consider them from family. And I met them because I raised my little cousin Jose, and he befriended this little kid Matheus when they used to be flying kites when they were like 8-9 years old. And then it was cool because he would stay here with me in Butantan. He had a little friend to play with, and then they ended up meeting, I met the family, and we've known each other since, and they're both like 21, 22 now. They're little men. So I think that set of folks, as far as here in Brazil, are the ones that I think, like, if all went to shit, I would just move to Paraná. I could stay on a couch until I got my life together. I think those are like the only ones here in Brazil that I would put on that level. And then everybody else, I think I would put like American friends because I've known them longer. And then I'll tell you this, Marcos, because he's offered for me to stay at his place a couple times. He's a real sweet guy, and he's somebody that I imagine. And you recognize people like this, you recognize them by how they act and how they talk. That I think if shit hit the fan, he would be like, "Hey man, I got a place in Rio," and I would say no because I hate Rio. Okay, but thanks for offering, Marcos. I love you, Marcos, by the way, for real.
Love you
Anyway,
too,
I want
man.
to I want to say, Vanessa, thanks for coming on. And she says, "Suburbio é vida," and you're right, man. All three of us are from living in the suburbio. So yeah, we're all in the suburbs. Only Kira, who's not here, doesn't live in the suburbs. She's a chicky girl. Let me see. Oh yeah, oh my God, by Teacher K. Hi Oliver, thanks for dropping by. Teacher K says, I met people through Ecology Samba. That's another great way to meet people if you're like Samba. But again, like if you're in a city like Sao Paulo, there's a lot to do here. In fact, I just posted on Instagram. I was going to show you guys. Actually, sorry, let's take a mini break here, guys, because I really want to show you something cool that I posted on Instagram just to show you how wild this city is at times. Like you think you don't see, like some things don't exist, and then they end up existing. Look at this. Baseball themed restaurant in Sao Paulo in the Tatuapé region. I definitely am going to watch a playoff game here. Go Phillies. Ah, Phillies. Beautiful. I didn't know this existed. So here we go. This is the baseball stadium. Or the baseball restaurant. Sorry, my mistake. Very, very, very cool. Got a little batting cage there. And where's my Phillies cap? Oh, nice. Well, there's not going to be any Phillies cap because, as you can see, there's a lot of Japanese that live in Sao Paulo. So the Japanese bring baseball, but I've never seen a baseball like restaurant. It's so cool. I love baseball to death, and so I imagine if I go to a baseball restaurant, I might meet other people that love baseball, and then I make friends. But again, you got to learn a little bit of Portuguese. That helps a lot, guys. It's getting late and I want to wrap up, but I want to get into like some funnier stuff because we went into like some really heavy stuff, about cultural differences, which I love, by the way. But little things that just crack me up. And I don't know if you got them, Marcos. Were you able to get some of those good morning memes? Because, oh my God, they are insane. Let me see. Let me see. I think I can look them up. So, guys, good morning in Sao Paulo. Oh, no, in Brazil. It's just like, it's next level, And nobody here, and people get offended if you don't say good morning to them before starting a conversation because, you have to say good morning. I'm trying to share a screen here. I put here on Google, good morning, the ant, good morning, and dude, I kid you not, I'm in a group, and I'm not going to share the screen, the group that I'm in, but I get like rows of these, boom, 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 and each one is more spectacular than the other. And Marcos has a bunch of like amazing ones, and it's insane. What is up with this, man? Like, it's never a good morning. Like, I only feel good. I was talking to Marcos this morning. He's asking me hard questions before 11. And I said, Marcos, give me a second, man. What's up with the good morning, Marcos?
I sent you some now on WhatsApp. Maybe you can share a screen. So I got a group with some aunties, yeah, and it's amazing because every day we got like 3 different flowers and amazing see like this one. It's amazing.
Oh, that you have a blessed day full of God's presence. Look, what's that first one say? On earth, everything is fragile, darkness, illusory, with the exception of love. What? Love which unites us. Oh my God, that's like really deep. Okay. I hope God transforms your life. Good morning, beautiful people. Oh yeah, and then they have like these specialized for the day, like boa sábado, boa segunda. I'm like, what the hell? Who makes these? Like, I want to get into this business, Pete. This has got to be a side hustle. I've been talking to Pete about doing a lot of side hustles. This needs to be our next side hustle, Pete. Making these damn good morning memes.
Okay, I really, if I've seen them, I haven't noticed them.
It's a cottage industry. It's because you're not as connected with these Brazilians, man. As soon as you get like, I got a group of these friends of mine that are Brazilian, and we formed a group on WhatsApp. Bum, 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 bum. They hit heavy with those, man. They hit heavy. And but Marcos, what is that? Like if I don't say good morning, even to an Uber driver, or boa tarde, or actually I saw it today. Like this guy was like, "Hey driver, dá licença, eu posso entrar por trás?" He was asking to go through the back because he didn't have money, and the guy was like, "Primeiramente, boa noite." I was like, "What the fuck?" You're like, "First off, good evening." I'm like, kid was kind of rude. Like if I had said, "Yo, can I get in the back?" Probably the guy in Philly would be like, "Yo, please, can you say please at least?" Or like, "Can you say hello at least?" But he would never say, "First, let's begin with good evening." We'd be like, "What the fuck is this dude?" So what is it? What is it? I think it's cute. I'm complaining about it, but I think it's cute. What is it, Marcos?
I think you said something, yeah, because you cannot even ignore people, even homeless people cannot ignore. Yeah, so everything is very communicative, and I really think that everything is very impersonal. Yeah, nothing is like really professional. I think it's the culture. We are not like the professionals, like professional Europe or US, yeah. But it's our profession. Yeah, it's different what we count professional. That's not the standards from yeah. It's our professional. So that's something that I always do when I go to a restaurant. Yeah, I always ask for the waiter's name. Yeah, because man, that's it. Yeah. So
That's
yeah, it's like, please, can you do it? And we call him by his name, and he comes like happily, and we talk yeah, to the guy as he was your friend because he's a waiter friend, yeah, and that's it, yeah. I think it works, and for the Uber driver the same. You just say like, yeah, so how are you doing, Uber driver? So let's go to this place. And I said, where do you want to go? From which they have like a place, or just follow the map and whatever. Yeah, you just talk to the guy and you just talk.
yeah.
I think it's a very communicative country, yeah, as you said.
Extremely. Look, guys, just so you know, I was not kidding. Get ready, Marcos. You ain't seen this level. I mean, you send some good ones sometimes, but you ain't never seen this level. And this is just one aunt. She's a grandma, in fact. So she's got the grandma powers. Because look at this, guys. Just prepare your eyes. Look at that. That's intense. Okay. And then Bom Dia, Felissima. Look, it's like hippie, transcendental LSD Jesus. Like they're on next level. I'm sorry, Marcos. This is next level, right? Look at this. Feliz Domingo. And then these are basic
Totally,
ones.
totally
Yeah.
amazing.
Sesto. And then we got the yoga ones. At least that's what I'm saying. Like I don't get mad at these. I think there's some of them are really pretty. I just think it's just funny how look at how many. Yeah, it's just like I think that's one regular picture. Every damn picture here. I was not joking. Look at that. I was afraid to show the group because I'm like, okay, I don't want to, show our pictures and stuff. But look at this. There's nothing. This is the first actual normal picture, and who sent it? Me. at the at the Eagles game. Oh my god, it's so funny. Uh, Look at this, Vanessa. What they say, primeiramente, bom dia com todo respeito. Yes, yes, guys. And I've been checked before, like where I just pay, oh, então, eu vou conseguir aquilo amanhã, né? Or I'll say like, e aí, tudo bem? I'll say tudo bem, which I think is enough, but it's not enough, E aí, tudo bem? Você vai estar livre mais tarde? And then the next thing the person sends to me is bom dia. I'm like, man, that's shade. That's Brazilian shade. It's so weird. And then I respond back bom dia, and then only after I respond back bom dia do they say sim. Eu saio do trabalho às 6. Like, yes, I leave work at 6. I'm like, motherfucking asshole. But you love them. You love them. That's fucking Brazilians. I love this country, guys. And I'll give you, let me see, one more that I think a lot of people that come down here, and this is a make it or break it one. Actually, two. One is this wax paper that they give you for like a napkin. Like, what the hell is up with that? And the suicide shower, that's a tough one for a lot of people to get over, because here, guys, the showers, like it sticks out and all the wires stick out, like there's no heater box to heat the water, so the water is heated through electricity. Just amazing. But let's go with the wax. Like, what is this waxing napkin, Marcos? What is this travesty? I'm gonna put a picture up. Guardanapo de barzinho. You see, I even have it saved here on Google. What is this shit, Marcos?
Because this napkin is not for you to it's not for using a mouth. Yeah, it's just for you to grab the food, the salgado, yeah, coxinha or whatever. Yeah,
Wow, I did not know this. I'm not even
yeah. It's not
messing
for
with
you
you.
for clean. It's just for you to take the food
Yeah,
because
but
you're
they
not
don't give.
supposed to put your hand on your food. We are taught like that. Yeah, don't put your hand on
Oh,
your food. Yeah, so you
see,
take the napkin and you take the coxinha, pastel,
but
joelho, what you
should have
call
two
the
sets of
person.
napkins. They
Huh?
should have two sets of napkins then, because these, okay, these I can kind of work with, but those little waxy things,
But
and
if
they
you're
don't
not
always.
touching the food, then your hand should be fine.
I know, but your mouth can get a little dirty. I mean, I don't always hit my
But then
mouth
for
when
the
I'm
food, then
doing
you
stuff.
have another one for your mouth. Yeah, but this one is to grab the food.
I know, but what do I use on my mouth?
The other one.
I know, but the other one's not always there. I get what you're saying, but then we need full commitment. I need both napkins on the table. Then I will comply, even though I eat with my hands. But that's an American thing. Like, Americans eat with their hands, and I get weird looks from Brazilians. But whatever,
See,
I try to.
if you use the waxing napkin, people
Yeah.
will be like, "I'm Brazilian."
I know. And when I get pizza, and depending if the pizza is stiff enough, I'll just pick it up with my hand, and I get these nasty looks from people. Um, there you go. Teacher K says, "Oh yes, casually getting electrocuted when it's not properly installed. Yeah, the suicide shower, guys, the famous suicide shower
Yeah,
that
they do
we."
have gas showers here, though.
Yeah, but they're not so common, and they're really expensive.
Yeah,
So most people's homes, I mean, this is a really cruddy looking one, which kind of looks like mine, but this is a very basic one, just a stick coming out of the wall, and there's a shower, and then, oh, sorry, this is what I want to show you. There's the pipe coming out the wall, where the water's going to come out, and then the electric current, is running through there. And then you just have to really, really, really believe in the laws of physics, and that gravity is going to push that water down at all times. There's nothing there to make that water splash back up enough to electrocute you. So, trust Newton and you'll be fine. You ever get electrocuted in one of these things?
No,
no, but the thing with these electric shower heads that I have problems with is, man, it can take you quite some time to find like the ideal setting, because
Yes.
when the pressure is low, um, nothing happens. If it's a little higher than low, it's hot, but it's death hot. The higher the pressure goes, the cooler it gets. So the temperature is related to the pressure, and finding that balance where it's the right temperature for you and
Yes.
it's sufficient pressure is maddening. It can take weeks with a new shower head.
Oh, and then when you start dating somebody who maybe likes colder showers, and because I like hot showers, and I know exactly where to leave that knob because it's just always there. I don't need to, like, at most I'll like give it like a centimeter to the left, centimeter to the right, but it's like right there. But then you get somebody that likes colder showers, so they change, because you see there's a little knob up there, guys. So that little knob is gonna get you to like really hot to like really cold. Like it says like winter and summer. And then he changes it to like fall. And I'm like, motherfucker, because I'm at winter over here. And he's going to fall spring. And then when I go back to winter, then I gotta like readjust because he needs to have like less pressure on it. So the water, I'm like, motherfucker. So it's a pain in the ass if you start dating somebody. Marcos, have you ever been? See you later, teacher Kay. Thank you, Kay, for having. We're gonna get you back on. So you just sit tight. We're gonna get you back on because I'd love to have you on. Marcos, you ever gotten electrocuted? Ever get a little fire in the ass from one of these things?
No, no, because my cousin is amazing. Yeah,
Oh,
doing this, and man, my shower works perfectly. Yeah, and I know the exact balance. Yeah, for the the temperature that I like. Yeah, and I was here laughing when I had when I heard teachers say that it take weeks for the for the perfect balance. I was like, yeah, that's so true. Yeah, when you change, it's like, man, here it comes again. You need to do it again. Know where. Yeah, and depends on the temperature. Yeah, of the water also because sometimes the water exposed to the sun and the heat, so you don't even need the shower on because it's like super hot.
yes, that
It's crazy,
happens.
yeah. But
Yes.
yeah, it's amazing. But there are so many places. I think more and more places now they have gas, yeah, to the shower more and more.
Yeah, the newer homes, I imagine. But if you live in an older house, my house, I don't know how old it is, but I imagine it was built like in the 80s, maybe 90s. I don't know, but it's an older house. So they're probably going to have these older showers. And I wanted to touch also. Oh, I almost got electrocuted. That's what I was thinking. I don't know what happened, but luckily for me, I escaped death again. Is that like I was looking for something like I stepped out from under the shower because I was gonna grab something on the sink or something. As soon as I did that, there was like a flash of light, and I turned around and I saw these little blue bolts coming down the stream of the. It was like the most surreal thing. It was like little lightning bolts coming down the stream of water, and I was like, "What?" Yeah, I did not take the rest of that shower, but I learned after that because I kept burning these out because I tried to do it myself. I just got an electrician to do it one day, and that thing's been on for like 2, 3 years because I used to run through these things like every 6 to 8 months. I'd have to buy a new one. So spend 200 reais and just get an electrician who knows what they're doing to like set it up for you. It looks prettier because he hides the wire and blah blah blah, and it looks real cute. Another guys, I just want to get a couple more out and then we're gone. Is and this is kind of a frustrating one for me is that Brazilians really like lines, man. Like when you go to the supermarket, it's just something that you got to get used to. Go to the supermarket. One, they're not going to have change, and it's like not. It's kind of a mix of cashless society, but definitely changeless society. But yeah, motherfuckers just stand in line. Like if it, like you see a line starting, and then more people come to the line, and more people, and you're like, "What's the line for?" It's like I don't know. Like I've had that happen. Like I don't say, "Well, aqui é a linha do ônibus." No, at least you can't. Like it's not the bus line. It's just another line to wait for the first. I'm like, what? Because I've even done this at bus terminals where like I've asked somebody in the second line, I'm like, is this the line to go in? They're like, no, this is the line to. And I think it's because they want to have a seat, they want to like sit down. But I'm like, what? Like I no, it's I would not be standing for 30 minutes just to sit for another 30. It just doesn't make sense, but you see a lot of lines. Do you see this, Marcos? Like, are you conscious of Brazilians like love for queuing? The British love to say queuing because they say British people like to do this too. They're like, Brits love to queue up, but they're like, I ain't never seen anything like Brazil though. What is going on with this, Marcos?
Man, there's something, yeah. And I think we get back to this so casual services that we have because in supermarket, man, sometimes it takes ages. Yeah, and it's just one person that asks the other one, so where's the change? Please bring this, and they stop the whole line just because she wants to talk. Yeah, and she will talk no matter what.
And it's so like Brazilian, so like there's a part of me, there's a very big New Jersey part of me that's like, bitch, what the fuck's going on? Like, I don't care about your kids. Like, there's people in the line. Like, that's how what would happen in the US. But I'm like, I know I can't do it. I'm in Brazil. I'm gonna start a riot. Like it would be World War III. if I did that, because it's just part of the culture. It's very social. So that person's gonna talk to the cashier. If it's an old lady and she's getting out the coins, it's, oh, y olha suas unhas, look at your nails or something. I'm like, oh no.
Man,
We talked
and
about this last week, Peter, right? Like how many people it takes to get a computer, but that's a little different. That's procedural. This is
Right.
more social, where it's like, but imagine if one of those people decides that they want to be social with you. Oh man, it's game
Yeah.
over.
But the computer aspect does highlight another funny thing about Brazilian commercial culture, particularly as it pertains to it being a cashless society. Even like buying shoes is kind of a pain. You got one person who shows you the shoes, then another person you have to go to get a bill for the shoes, and then you go somewhere else to pay. Going to the bars, I mean, I still pay cash everywhere, and I have very few problems. Sometimes I went to a beer festival a couple weeks ago, and there was one tent. The beer was 15 reais. I paid with a 20. They didn't have a five. They had did not have 5 reais change. But most places it's not that bad. But
That's
when you go to the bars, you have to go, or to the movies, you have to go to one place to pay and then go stand in another line to get your shit. The food
Yeah,
festivals,
that's crazy. Like, man, that
more
drives
cash.
me nuts. I'm sorry to cut you off, because that
Yeah,
drives me fucking nuts when it's like when they do something that's supposed to be convenient, like here, pay at this token, like fast, cool. But then it's like you pay at the token just to go wait in the line. It's like, wait,
yeah, you have to stand in two lines for
you
everything.
stand two lines to get one thing.
Yeah,
Come on, Marcos, it's crazy. I like. Look, I'll tell you what. Like learning moment. Today's like I'm Mr. The bright side of life tonight. Look on the bright side, because I like it did teach me to like just be cool, like relax. Like you're in line, and sometimes I've started conversations with people online because I'm like, why not? Like when in Rome, do as the Romans. Like I've been in lines and carnival. It's crazy. People do whole like dance numbers in line. I was at this Osho supermarket where it just went into all I really want, they really, really want, all I really want, what I really want. The Spice Girls, and everybody. It was like, yes, this is Brazil, and then that's carnival, so it's extra, but it's Brazil day to day. People just perfect strangers just want to start conversations with you. They want to get, so you got that goes back to Marcos at the beginning. So you got to be extra aware, because it's kind of tough in the beginning to know who the scammers are and who just are the sweet Brazilians that are like, why wouldn't I talk to you like in the middle of the street? Like, of course I would. Why wouldn't I talk to this cashier? Like, she's so cute, she's so nice, she's so friendly, and you're just like, good Lord. But you just got to roll with it, and you get less stressed. Like in the beginning, I used to get stressed out by this stuff. Now I'm like, unless I'm like in a rush and I'm like, I'd be like, dá licença, I'll do something like that, or I'll start putting my stuff down to give them a message. But I rarely do that, because it's like, I'm here, it's Brazil. Marcos, got any closing thoughts? Because we're gonna do our hour and a half, so we're reaching the hour and a half mark. What you got for us?
I think if you are stressed out, if you're in a rush, you're going to get stressed because why rush, man? Why rush? And I think this is the main idea of I think the cultural shock, the big cultural shock for everyone here, yeah, is this non-rushing society, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Everything's so cool down, everything's so easy going, and things do happen. Yeah, it's like the job provides the bread. Yeah, it will happen. Yeah, at some point things will turn and will happen.
Yeah, they
And
do. It's like,
yeah, they do. Yeah, and I think being and the language. Yeah, now is a kind of some advertisement. Yeah, but not advertisement. But you
oh
said yeah,
yes. Oh,
No,
you
wait,
have
wait.
the right
My
to
turn.
call me an asshole because I completely forgot to like give you more advertisement at the beginning of this podcast. But I'll definitely put all your information in the comments. But yes, Marcos is a Portuguese English teacher, Portuguese teacher. Uh, talk to the people. Do your thing.
Yeah, because if you don't speak Portuguese here, because it's, Phil, you tell me, and Peter tell me, how many Brazilians, like, do you know that speaks like that speaks English, that you can go to a level of conversation, and how many don't?
Mm.
Yeah. So if you don't speak Portuguese here, man, it will be very hard to connect to people. And so it's very important to speak Portuguese, like the language, to be here in a level that you're like deeply connected to the culture. Yeah. And I think this is the main aspect of the our talking today. Yeah, like these cultural gaps, and man, you will not get it if you don't speak Portuguese in the end of the day. Yeah, because there are some things that you only understand in Portuguese. Yeah,
I agree.
when you understand Portuguese, Brazilian Portuguese, yeah, and you understand how to think like we think. Yeah,
Yeah,
and I
and
think this is something that we do. Yeah, that's something that I do. Yeah, at my school. Yeah, me and Antonio. Yeah, that's my business partner. It's like to teach how not to be Brazilian, not to be a carioca, but to understand how we think. Yeah, how is our society? Yeah, like work in the society. How we know how you feel because I've been teaching Portuguese for foreigners like for 16 years now. Yeah, it's like forever. Yeah, it's a lifetime also. Yeah. So I know like people pass by, these people come and people stay also, and it's hard when you don't speak Portuguese. Yeah, because if you don't in Rio, especially in Rio, man, if you don't speak Portuguese, you starve to death because no one even know how is water. Yeah, if you go to a restaurant, man, you're going to get lost. Depends on where you are. Yeah, but you need to speak Portuguese,
Marcus, I was gonna
and I think
say,
that's my last thoughts.
look, these are wonderful last thoughts because it's not just an advertisement; it's a reality, and then it just depends on what type of lifestyle you want to live. If you are just a social, what do you call it? What do you call those guys? The nomads, digital nomad, and you're cool, just kind of like how Pete lives. Like Pete's okay, Like I don't think Pete has. I mean, I don't want to put words in your mouth, Pete, but you've made it pretty clear. Like you're fine. Like you're living a good life. You work online. It's not a necessity for you to make all these connections all the time. That's fine. You got to be real with yourself where you want to go. Now, if you're struggling to make those friendships and you want to have a social life and you're not trying to speak the language, man, good luck. And that's why I'm so proud of Kira because Kira came here speaking nothing. She could say like 3 words and badly, And now she's communicating like I get so impressed when I'm out with her because she's just tries and okay, she conjugates everything backwards, but people understand her and her pronunciation's getting better and she's able to now. I see that she's making more friends now. She's connecting more. And in her message she said, "Oh, I still, I have my friends and then I have my best friends are expats." But wait, I imagine she's only been here 2 years. If she continues on her Portuguese journey, in 5, 6 years, if she decides to stay in Brazil, she might eventually meet, like I did with that family I was telling you about. Those people that I consider, those are my heart. But that's because of how much better I understood the culture. Because I already had the Portuguese coming in. It improved, but it was pretty much 80% there. But understanding the culture and understanding how people speak is super important. And even it'll take away frustration because when I'm at the supermarket line and I'm seeing the old lady talking to the young girl, I know what she's saying. And like, how can I get mad at her? She's like, "You look like my granddaughter." And like, you got the same. I'm like, well, I'm going to get pissed at this old lady. It's cute. So if I don't speak the language, it just sounds like, and you're like, why is this bitch talking to this other bitch? Get the fuck out of luck. That's what you're thinking. So learning the language can even help you with that. Like you understand why it is people are taking their time and relax, because you hear their conversation. They're having a great conversation. Why would I want to leave it? So there's a little bit of that. Guys, das ist alles, as they say in very short German, right? That's all. And Peter, got anything to say? Because I'm about to play some outro music.
All right. Yeah, just a couple quick things
Okay.
to add to things we've already said. About the good morning thing, this applies to emails as well.
Oh, yes.
Um,
Okay.
you do not start an email without saying, "How are you?" I mean, I do it. And actually, I think nowadays I do it to deliberately piss people off. I have this one business contact. When I send file attachments, I don't even include a text. And when I send my availability, I'm just like Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. These are the times, because I know it's what they call contacto. It's not a decision maker. So yeah, they probably find it really rude, because I know that's how Brazilians start all their emails, like tudo bem, tudo bem. If we don't do that in North American culture, we get to the point in a business email. We say,
Yes.
okay, hi, this is what I need, blah, 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 bye. Keep it short and simple. But Brazilian emails, you must start with tudo bem, or how are you? The other thing is, be aware that when a Brazilian tells you they are arriving, chegando, chances are they haven't left the house yet.
Oh no.
I have one person I have this huge problem with. She's actually the manager of my building, and she receives a lot of money for me from out of town clients. And she's also my cleaning lady. And yeah, every time, man, like she's like, okay, I will be at your apartment at 2 p.m. tomorrow. 2 p.m. She's never been on time once. And this has been in like 4 years. Not once has she ever been on time. So I figure she means more like 3. But if she's not there by 3, send her a message, ask where she is. Tachigando, I'm coming. It's like, you so are not. And yeah, she'll be like 5:30 for her 2 o'clock meeting. That's just the reality when Brazilians tell you when they're going to be somewhere. If it's not, I mean, if it's a work situation, then yeah, you can expect a reasonable amount of punctuality. But if their job doesn't depend on it, take it with a grain of salt, man.
Man, the flip side of that is if a party says that it starts at 8, do not show up at 8.
Yeah,
Because it will
don't be
be
the first
over.
person to arrive at a party.
The host of the party might not even be ready and at the
Yeah.
door. So be careful with that. So, guys, it's Newton for the showers, believe in that gravity, and then it's Einstein for social life, because everything's very relative when we're dealing with time here in Brazil. Anyway, Mr. Marcos, I want to thank you so much for coming on tonight. We kept you up a little late. Sorry, brother. But you're a sweet guy. You're an awesome guy. And I like that I can bust Marcos' balls. He understands a little bit, that's a sign of love. Okay. And he busts back, though. Be careful with this dude. So, guys, thank you all for listening and watching, and those that weren't here live, thank you very much. Don't forget to like, subscribe to the page. Those that are listening afterwards, comment. I loved all the comments from the last video. I forgot to run through them. I'll do that next time. And that's all, folks. Keep an eye on this page. By the way, I'm going to be uploading some videos that I did, like not live, obviously, and some cool interviews that I did with some Brazilian singers, and an interview with me. Okay, but you'll be able to caption it in English, which was kind of cool. I was interviewed for a podcast, so I'll upload that to the page. So keep an eye on the page. And here's my outro music, and here's my NPR voice. And I want to thank everyone for listening to the Brazil Expat Journal, the BJ you can trust. And I'll see you next week. Hopefully, we'll be here next week. Not sure exactly what the topic will be. It'll be a surprise for us, too. So I'll talk to you guys then. Bye-bye. In the stream.